Bob Iger's Disney lose it over Trump destroying DEI with latest desperate move. We're going to go ahead and get right into this. So welcome back to Views with Hughes, Culture and News. This is Jerome Hughes. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so we've all been focused on this a long time. The Walt Disney Company, yes, that institution by Bob Iger is gearing up for what looks like to be a drawn-out battle. But it's not just about business anymore. People see this time it seems that Disney under Bob Iger is seeming to be setting itself up as a direct opponent of the Trump administration. Okay, and let me tell y'all something. This particular battle is shaping up to be just more about than just the theme parks and movies. It's about culture, values, as well as, dare I say it, the future of America. Okay, now Disney under Bob Iger for generations has been, well, I won't say generations, but Disney under Walt Disney has been generations been synonymous with excellence in entertainment. It's a name that brings to mind innovation, creativity, and family-friendly values. But let me ask y'all this question: is that the same Disney that we know today or see today? I'd say no, and I think the numbers back me up. So over the past 5 years, the Disney's stock has dropped by to about 20% under Bob Iger, while inflation has been soaring, sometimes hitting 10% or more under the Biden administration, as you all know, and Disney's value has been going in an opposite direction under Bob Iger. Now, if you're an investor, that's a tough pill to swallow right there, especially when you compare it to the S&P 500, which has grown by 85% in the same period, okay? And that's no surprise right there either. But Disney under Bob Iger is raking in a staggering $41 million in 2024. That's a 30% increase from previous year, even as the company's performance has been, well, lackluster at best. But he's making $7.2 million in business bonuses alone. Bonuses for what exactly? Losing shareholder value? I mean, it's hard to actually see how that makes sense. But here's the crazy part right here. You see, Disney under Bob Iger has been trying to executive bonuses to their so-called DEI initiatives. Yes, their bonuses are actually now linked to race and sex-based factors according to their SEC filings. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that sounds like it could be walking the fine line of what's legal and illegal. You see, Disney's commitment to Bob Iger's DEI initiative isn't just about hiring a diverse workforce. It's about, basically putting these principles into every aspect of the company itself, from boardroom decisions to the bonuses of their executives' pockets, okay? And according to the own filings, like 50% of Disney's board members, are considered diverse, with 40% being non-male and 30% being non-white. But here's the thing. Disney's definition of diverse under Bob Iger seems to exclude one very specific group, white men. Unless, of course, they happen to identify in a way that aligns with Disney's new cultural norms and everything. But think about that for a second. This isn't just about inclusion. It's about exclusion, plain and simple. We even seen that from the O'Keefe Media Group when they exposed that about Disney as well. And let's also not forget who's at the helm of this whole operation. Bob Iger, a white male himself, seems to be benefiting quite handsomely from these particular policies. Now, it is a bit ironic, isn't it? The man who's supposedly leading the charge for diversity is making millions while the company he's running, or in this case ruining, is alienating a significant portion of its audience and shareholder base. You see, Disney under Bob Iger is almost as if the rules don't really apply to him. So funny how that works. But under the Biden administration, corporations were encouraged to adopt these, DEI policies. But the Trump administration, on the other hand, is taking a different approach. You see, they're pushing back against this woke ideology, and rightly so, in my opinion. But under Trump, hiring and promotion and decisions based on race and sex instead of just merit are likely to face serious legal scrutiny. And Disney under Bob Iger has made it clear that in their SEC filings that they're actually going to go ahead and double down on these policies, even as other major corporations like Amazon, Walmart, and Boeing are quietly stepping away from these DEI policies. Now, Question is, why exactly is Bob Iger and Disney doing this? Well, some might argue that it's about aligning with the cultural and political values of California, where they're headquartered and everything. But let's be real here. California is not exactly a shining example of good governance and stuff nowadays, and it's a state that's plagued by homelessness, skyrocketing cost of living, recently some fires that's taking everything, and a failing infrastructure. Yet Disney under Bob Iger seems intent on importing that same ideology into their company. I mean, just look at their theme parks. Instead of just building new attractions that fans actually want, Disney is simply replacing, beloved classics with politically driven subpar experiences. Why? Well, simply because they're being run by the same kind of bureaucratic mindset that's ruining California itself, okay? But here's a prime example. The Muppets. They were kicked out of their theater to make way for something new. But instead of just simply creating a new space, I mean, Disney under Bob Iger decided to go ahead and replace something that people loved with something they didn't even ask for. There's a pattern we've seen for years that we're seeing across the board, okay? And they're not building, they're tearing it down simply. And it's not just physical attractions, it's the very culture of Disney that's being dismantled, okay? Going farther away from Walt in his vision. Now, Disney's relationship with China under Bob Iger cannot go unnoticed. While they're busy lecturing Americans about DEI, Disney under Bob Iger is more than just happy to go ahead and bow to the whims of the Chinese government. And that's no surprise right there. And it's a huge double standard that's hard to ignore. They'll pander to, authoritarian regimes overseas while actually demonizing everyday Americans like me and you who don't align with their woke agenda. And it's hypocrisy at its finest. And that's no surprise right there. But Disney under Bob Iger is heading for a showdown, not just with the Trump administration, but with reality itself. You see, they've abandoned the principles of meritocracy that made them great in the first place. They've alienated their core audience, and they've tied their fortunes to an ideology that's actually increasingly being rejected by the American public. Now, if they don't change course or do course correct, it's hard to see how they're going to go ahead and recover. But basically, this is an opportunity for other companies to go ahead and step up. You see, Universal's Epic Universe is set to open soon, and it has the potential to go ahead and wipe the floor with Disney, but in market share. Why? Because Universal is focusing on what fans actually want: fun, innovative, and immersive experiences. You see, they're not bogged down by the same ideological baggage that's sinking Disney under Bob Iger, okay? And that's no surprise right there. But yeah, basically, at this point, we can learn from all of this. First, that abandoning meritocracy in favor of ideological conformity is a losing strategy. Second, that companies need to focus on their customers, not on pandering to a vocal minority. And third, that leadership matters. You see, Bob Iger may be making millions, but under his watch, Disney is losing its magic. Okay, so Disney under Bob Iger is just simply a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the mightiest companies can falter when they lose sight of their values and their audience. But it's also a reminder that we as consumers and investors have the power. We can choose where to spend our money and where to basically invest our hard-earned dollars. And if Disney under Bob Iger doesn't want to go ahead and earn that trust, well, guess what? There are plenty of other companies that will. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts or details you might have on this particular topic. If you enjoyed what was shared in this video, go ahead and smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, and you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification so that way you're notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.